see y'all too. We are in our hometown, New Orleans,
It's
Louisiana.
90 degrees.
It is hot out here. It is hot outside, and he's in black. I'm in a suit, but it's okay because we are about to go upstairs in this building on Poydras to meet the CEO and president of the New Orleans Business Alliance, Mr. Norman Barnum.
Yes, sir.
Now look, we're in New Orleans. It's the home of the Foodats. It's the home
Of Weedats.
It's the home of Second Line and Jazz, and everybody knows us for that. But also, economic and business development is very essential to New Orleans and our economy. We understand that as business owners.
Yes, sir.
He has Weedats, I have BAMM, and New Orleans Business Alliance is one of the entities that's ensuring business and economic development continues to prosper in New Orleans. So we're going to talk with the leader of New Orleans Business Alliance, Mr. Norman Barnum. Let's go up and talk to him right now.
Yeah. Get out my way. I need space to get the fake on. Get out my way. I need space I'm about to take on. Get out my way. Yeah, the frequency been way up, way up. Get out my way. It's too easy. It's a
What's happening, man? What's happening? Come on. How you like me now? Look, let's do this.
So Norman, thank you so much for agreeing to talk with us on the Blueprint, man. It's an honor to have you on.
Hey, I'm feeling blessed, and I'm ready to get real blue today.
So look, a lot of people, they heard our intro where we talked about you and who you are in New Orleans Business Alliance. But tell us a little bit more about Norman Barnum. Who is Norman?
Look, I'm gonna run you through the traps on how I got here and why it's important to me. So this is how the story began for me in New Orleans. My dad was in the Air Force. I was an Air Force brat. His last stop was Keesler Air Force Base, and he said, we're about to come back home. We're going to move all the way back home. So I was excited because as a little boy on Cannon Air Force Base in New Mexico, the only thing I knew about what my roots were was that we rooted for the Saints and the colors were black and gold.
Yes, sir.
And so when we got home and my dad was still stationed at Keesler, my first address was 4904 Camp Street. And that was the beginning of my introduction into New Orleans. McDonald No. 6 was my first little public school. Like a lot of New Orleanians back in that time, New Orleans East started to grow and flourish. And we were like the Jeffersons and moving on up. And so my dad bought our first house, 6752 West Laverne in Pines Village, New Orleans East. And like everybody, that time for me was enjoying Lake Forest Plaza, catching the Morrison 93 to my high school, which was McDonald 35, and becoming ingrained in New Orleans culture. I didn't realize it at the time, but it was infusing in me in a way that I was never going to leave. Was in the Ron Eagle Marching Band, enjoyed the cadence of the drums, marching in Ted Gormley Stadium, competing with St. Augustine, the high schools, Okeanos Parade. So all of those things kept infusing my New Orleans experience. Fortunately, I was able to go to Xavier University, HBCU. With my sisters. The other thing that wasn't so fortunate, my sisters were both pre-med chemistry. So my mom said, you were going to be pre-med chemistry too, and you see how that worked out. It wasn't that pleasant. But it was the beginning of me fully rooted in all the things that what makes you Black New Orleans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so one of the first memories I have of Mardi Gras was a cold Mardi Gras walking from my grandmother's house on 3rd Street to St. Charles. And we passed the Brown Derby. I remember it like yesterday. And that was the first time I heard that music, and I didn't know quite what that music was. But as a young kid coming off of Cannon Air Force Base, I said, this is doing something to me. It was new suit. Every year around Mardi Gras, I get my new suit. And you see the suit behind me, and that's part of that reverence for our culture and what it means. And
so look, tell me, you're talking about the suit behind you. That's the Mardi Gras Indians. There may be some people who are watching that's not from New Orleans, so they see this fancy suit and they're like,
what does that mean?
The new suit, what does that mean? Tell us
Yeah,
about
I mean, just like everybody else, I want to understand the culture, and what does it mean to be an Indian. And I remember my parents, they said, oh no, the Indians come out and, sometimes they be fighting, but that's them Indians. And then when you really realize the Indians represented the bonding between the indigenous Indians and the slaves, you know, and what happened during a pandemic that the slave owners was not even able to take care of the slaves, and the slaves learned how to survive with the Indians. And then they brought some of that culture, what that represented to them, into Mardi Gras. And what it really infused in me is an expression of self, determination, culture, and spirit, craftsmanship. There's a lot of things that that suit represent. Your area, your tribe, your customs. So this particular suit is from Big Chief Dow Edwards, the Timbuktu Warriors Uptown Tribe. And Dow was one of my first friends when I moved to 4904 Camp Street.
Nice.
And so for me, it brought it full circle for what the New Orleans experience meant to me, what it means to me as the interim president and CEO of the New Orleans Business Alliance, what it means to me to be grounded in culture, equity, and prosperity. So that's the suit to me.
Yeah. So let's talk about the New Orleans Business Alliance. You just said you're the interim CEO and president?
Correct.
Of New Orleans Business Alliance. What is the role of the New Orleans Business Alliance?
Good question. Let's chop it up real strong. As the economic development partner with the city of New Orleans, for Orleans Parish specifically, our role is simple. We need to excite, develop, create opportunities, economic opportunities and investment in Orleans Parish specifically. What does that mean? Jobs creation, jobs retained, small business growth, organically. You can invest and try to incentivize somebody to come to you, but invest in yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think under my leadership, that is a hardcore focus. We are going to grow this thing organically, a single, a double, maybe a triple, and keep stacking. And you do that one business at a time, one relationship at a time, one corridor at a time. And that's why I'm excited. The New Orleans Business Alliance, under my leadership, we do not react to opportunity. We create opportunity. And I think that is the biggest thing for me, the ability to create opportunity for our culture bearers, for our small business owners, in the commercial corridors that have not seen the level of investment that is needed, and be able to do it in a way that says we are not looking for a gift or a handout. We're looking for partnership and invest in the opportunities that are here and present. And that's our role.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I want to just go back to you talking about I could just hear your love and passion for the city of New Orleans.
It's crazy.
How do you think that goes hand in hand with the role that you're in right now, your love and passion and just being in the role?
I think the one thing that I've found in my career is authenticity.
Right.
When a person understands that I do not need a PowerPoint or a script to effectuate the value proposition of New Orleans.
Right.
I am the value proposition. I've become a part of that value proposition. And to be able to do it as the tip of the spear for the city's economic development agency and that partnership, that is the thing for me that I think is so telling for this moment at this time. Because we are in a period of time right now where everybody wants to have an authentic experience.
I'm glad you say that. Now, being in the times that we're in the middle of a pandemic, mm-hmm. right? The numbers are spiking back up,
yes.
right? Our city thrives off of hospitality.
Yes.
Right? How do you create that? What is some things that go through your mind? Because I'm pretty sure that, it keeps you up at night.
Yes. Look, walk me to it. We're going to have church this morning on this. Here it is. This is how we're going to do it. Excuse me. How do we monetize our culture? How do we monetize New Orleans without having somebody come here?
Right.
Do we have to only have an economic return if it's visitation? And so, yes, that was the thing. That was keeping me up at night.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to stand for you today, and I'm saying we're working on here at the New Orleans Business Alliance. How do we monetize our culture digitally?
Right.
All right? And I think that is the next frontier. And it's not just the next frontier for New Orleans, it's for everybody. We're walking into another level of technology.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
AI, experience. how do we do this in that manner? And look, I'm not going to give it all away, but look, coming attractions.
Right.
What are some of the challenges that that you face that the New Orleans Business Alliance has faced and is currently facing, especially in the midst of the pandemic and
Right.
and moving forward with some of the plans that you have?
It's sources and uses. It's funding. You know, you're always going to be able to chase the capital that's required to get the return. And we're no different than anybody else. You know, the city's been under pressure, the state's been under pressure. We've had some federal tranches of money that's going to help us. But the thing that is most important for me is to create self-sustaining revenue model for the New Orleans Business Alliance that is not solely dependent upon philanthropy or our city partnership. How do we create a value proposition in this market that people will pay for? That people understand that without the New Orleans Business Alliance, I would not have this level of return. And my role and the role of any economic development agency, my estimation is we have to incentivize private capital and give them certainty that they will have a return on their investment in a timely fashion. And to get the resources that's required to embellish this position that I have and give them that certainty, give the community the certainty that we will be around, we are here, we are your partner, we are valued. That's the game for me. And believe me, I have an approach that, as my younger brothers might say, I'm coming out the mud. All right? We're going to come out from the street up, from the community up. And I think for me, my role and my experiences in commercial corridor development, 25 years I spent in Philadelphia. The last 8 years was with the largest CDC in Philadelphia. And we did it at the ground level and built up. Mm-hmm. And when you do it that way, the private sector will always see an opportunity when you create it. And that comes back to my initial assumption. I'm not going to degrade that we can have an RFP and try to have somebody come in and save us.
Right.
But I'm going to create that opportunity. I don't need the RFP. Mm-hmm. I'm going to show you how we can do it, and I'm going to be a part of that process.
Yeah.
You know, it makes me think, and I want to go back to the small businesses that we talked
Mm-hmm.
about, and going back to this pandemic, because that's just the reality that we're living in.
Right.
It was a lot of small businesses that closed the first
Mm-hmm.
wave.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, the second wave.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on that?
A couple of things. We have created some program streams here, a Resilient Corridor Initiative with our partnership with the city to give some of what I call that save money, just to see if we can save you.
Right.
Now with Invest NOLA and our COVID Relief Fund, we got another tranche that's coming through that is not just about the PPP or the EIDL. How do we help you grow?
Right.
And I think one of the things that the pandemic has really shown, if you were exercising good habits and you had your game in check, you were able to move through it. If you had some bad habits and some gaps, it ate you up. Mm-hmm. And so I think this is a time where we re-evaluate ourselves and say, look, am I involved in this or am I fully committed? Because if you're fully committed, that might be the time, Greg, they say, look, you got to put your house up.
Right.
We walked this far with you, but now I need you to put the house up. And if you believe in your business model, if you believe in your process, you're going to say, I might not get it in 2022, but I'm going to be here for 2023 and 2024. 25, we got a Super Bowl coming. I'm going to be here.
Right.
All right? And I'm going to make this thing back. And that's when we come back fully to the state where I began at the beginning. Invest in yourself.
Right.
Organically.
Yes, sir.
The best capital investment I've ever made is
Was in
being in
yourself.
me.
Yeah.
You know, and then the ownership. Our problems, this problems, everything that I've accepted as the president, CEO right now of NOLA BA, anything that has come before me that has not got done, it's my problem now. Own it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we will move forward with a solution. And I don't think it, from my perspective, the thing that I could bring to the table in leadership is don't run from it. Brother Wayne said it, run to it. And that's where I'm at.
Yeah. You know, you talked about community earlier. First of all, I'm proud of you. When it was announced that you were interim president and CEO of New Orleans Business Alliance, I started jumping up and down in excitement because I'm like, you got the best person because you are you are uniquely New Orleans,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
A local station here in New Orleans used to say naturally New Orleans.
Right,
Yeah.
Right?
right,
You're
right,
naturally
right,
New
right,
Orleans.
right.
And that personality just comes out. And that, I was telling one of my mentees, I said, I want you to meet him and see him because, you know, one of the things that people like about the Blueprint is, you know, I'm in a suit, I'm a little
Yeah.
professional.
Yeah.
You know, Greg is like,
Yeah.
all
Right.
and you're able to blend that
Right,
together. And that's why we,
Yeah.
that's why we work well together.
Right.
You got all of that in you,
Right.
in one, right? You're in the suit, but then you come out, man, right?
Yeah.
Why is that important in this role in New Orleans Business Alliance, and how does that correlate with the community and who we are?
How you bridge it?
How do you bridge it?
That's a good question. In this role, in us community, the uniqueness of New Orleans, you have to be able to be uptown and downtown and comfortable in both spots. I have to be able to be on the lakefront or the boardroom and comfortable in those spots. And I think what made me unique to this moment is, although I'm a native New Orleanian, I spent 25 years in Philadelphia. And so a lot of my business acumen and my tempo and my cadencing, I learned in Philly. But I brought back that skill set embodied in the boy that went to 35.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that people are feeling, that's a little different about this dude. What's up with him? Well, that's what you're getting. Because believe me, I'm fully vetted in outcome.
Right.
I'm not vetted in activity. You know, I would do the second line all day long,
Right.
but I want to monetize it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think those are things that I can bring to the table. And it's one thing to talk about it, be about it.
Right.
I play trumpet. I understand what that brother's doing in the quarters.
Yeah.
I heard that riff. That's what's coming through my body.
Right.
You know, and I think that's the feeling. That's what I get.
Yeah.
You know, there's been nothing that has defined me personally like New Orleans culture.
Yeah.
And that's part of my personal family history. But what has been more than that is the respect that I have for the residents, all residents, the commitment that all of us make. Katrina changed the landscape.
Oh yeah, it did.
All
Let's talk about that. Katrina, the landscape changing, gentrification, which is huge in New Orleans. Let's talk about that, and also how does that affect business and economic development in the city, for the better or for the worse?
Let's isolate on one neighborhood, and we're going to look at the CID, the Claiborne Innovation District, that area specifically. Beginning with the interstate, coming in to a vibrant African-American commercial corridor, to the effects of healthcare and disparity in that area because of the traffic and volume, disinvestment. And now the location of that corridor, though it's still 5 minutes from the French Quarters. So you got the natural confluence of location, and what has been a bedrock of New Orleans culture for blacks. And so here we go. And that's why that march to gentrification. And for me, we cannot maintain the culture unless we can improve the quality of life for the residents that are there. Success to me is if we have increase in real estate values, I got increase in home ownership by African Americans in that corridor. And we are not going to be able to have willy-nilly what I call development. You're going to have the entities that are there to protect and control development on behalf of the community, or what the community says that I'm ready for. And fortunately, Ujima Development Corporation is embedded in the CID. We have strong leadership there that will be able to put some of the boundaries that are required to give a systemic gateway to tamp down gentrification. But it's been an interesting thing because I myself have asked the question, if middle-class African Americans replace lower-class African Americans in that particular community, do we call that gentrification? And that's when we start talking about the economics, you know. And so I want to make sure that we can at least have that discussion. And we can start growing home ownership. And we can move brothers and sisters from lower socio to middle, you know, and that's the role that I play here. Creating the jobs and the opportunities that will be able to take you from $11 an hour to $25 an hour in that same community that you live in. And now that value proposition on that house, if in fact real estate values are increasing, you are still able to qualify for a mortgage. Or you are able to be in that house that you already own and then can improve upon the appreciation of that house because of the new influx of buyers, and then hold that equity for yourself and your own wealth creation. That's the game for me. And like I think you can see, I'm passionate about that.
Yeah.
I just fully believe in this. Good habits, good financial habits, all right? Instilling those, making that part of our ethos, just like that second line is part of our ethos. It has not been the sexy thing, but I'm trying in my role, I'm going to make them good habits, the sexy thing, you know? And we're going to talk about that. We can have a discussion about that, and I'll second line in and second line out.
Yeah.
And in the interim, we're going to talk about budget, return on net assets, you know, all those other things. And I think, Brandon, to your point, that's the uniqueness of what I can bring, because I can second line in, run all the transactional transit, and then talk about transformation.
And that's New Orleans, and that's what people love about New Orleans. You get done what you need to get done, but we do it uniquely.
Yeah, uniquely to us in a way that honors us. Correct. I never realized, I'm going to give a shout out to my band director, Lloyd Harris, that just passed away recently from McDonald 35.
Yeah.
The greatness that man instilled in me, I did not realize what was happening at that time. And as I was reading Mr. Harris's obituary and some of what I've read, I felt it again. What made music to me was Lloyd Harris. And what he made us all do at McDonald 35 is you had to feel the music. And the way that you felt the music is you tapped your foot, the cadence. And if you went to a 35 band room, any practice, you would see 150 people with their feet
tapping.
And that's when the music became embedded in you. And so when I hear that cadence, and I'm seeing them brothers 8 to 5 coming in to take on me, I don't care which school it is, you know, drives me.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that is the thing that I want other generations to be able to feel it that way. I want them to be able to express themselves that way, because I've never felt that anywhere else and traveled the world. Nothing like this. And the beauty is that they look like me. It's part of me, you know? And now, how do we monetize that? And how do we all grow? Put it back into the soil and come out the mud.
Well, we're running out of time. We just got one more question for you that we ask every guest on the Blueprint. What is your blueprint for success?
Wow. Good question. Simple answer. You have to be self-validated. It's you. The answer to all of your questions, any of your problems, is the brother or sister looking back in the mirror. And if I'm going to tell anybody what the thing that I want, and we go back to that, it is self-investment in yourself. It is continually to improve upon your own brand. Every one of us is a brand ambassador for you. And I would tell you that is the biggest thing that's been the biggest part of my success is own it, invest in yourself, and do not limit. I've had a sensei, I got a black belt in Aikido in 2005, and he expressed something to me, and I just hold on to that all the time. He says, Norman, I have looked in the mirror, and I see 100% of what you could be. If you actually saw 100% of what your full self-actualization was, could you accept where you are at right now? And so I think that's the thing that I want to express to my New Orleans residents, my community. I have looked in the mirror. I have seen 100% of what New Orleans could be.
Right.
And I will not accept where we are now.
Right.
How you like that?
I mean, I love that. I'm a firm believer of just being able, like, once you realize tapping into yourself, and that comes with sometimes a lot of isolation, comes with a lot of trials and tribulations, you know, but I feel like once you tap into that, I mean, the sky is the limit.
Yes.
You know,
and I think the last thing, and we can part on this, the biggest part of now for me is not what I take, it's what I give.
what you give.
And improvement in myself allows me to have more improvement and give back to others.
You got to pour into people, man.
You got it.
Got to plant those seeds, man.
Yeah.
You got it.
Well, I'm telling you, you're pouring in, you poured into me, you poured into him, you were pouring into us when we walked in, right? Actually, my first time meeting you and talking to you, I don't know if you remember, it was with another entity that we were both a part of, and you called me and you fussed at me.
Yes.
And I said, who is this man?
Yes. Look, I remember.
You remember. I said, who is this man? Yeah. But that's your personality, and you were doing it because you saw the 100% in me,
Absolutely.
right? And wanted me to improve in what I was doing.
Yes.
And that's mentorship. When I grow up, I won't be like you. I won't be fly like you. Right? But thank you for joining us, man. This was a great interview.
Yeah,
Hey, look, anytime, call me Blue. I'm at the Blueprin.
Look at that. That's a new phrase.
Right.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah. Hey, listen, guys, you have been watching The Blueprint with me, my brother Greg,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Norman Barnum, CEO and president of the New Orleans Business Alliance, doing great things in our hometown.
Yes.
New Orleans.
New Orleans, baby.
Yep. We'll see you next time.
Let's get it.
Got it.
This has been a BAMM Network production, produced by BAMM Communications. For other BAMM Network shows, visit www.bammcommunications.com.